Hi students, this is a quick demonstration on how to create your My Opie. On your computer, can you load Inkscape, and it will look like this screen here. First thing we need to do, as always, is make sure we save this file. Now your OneDrive may be up here in the drop down box, you may be able to find it, or you may be able to find it on this PC. So when you've found your OneDrive, go into your computing folder, go into your My Opie folder, and when you get there, can you save it into that folder, leave the SVG extension there, and save it as your surname and your first name, and call it My Opie. Leave the .svg and click save. Now you know you've saved the file. The next thing we need is the portrait of you, and that should be in your folder as well. So this time, instead of saving, we need to go to File, Import. When we go to the same folder on OneDrive, you should be able to find your portrait. If you can't see your portrait, if you click up here on View menu and click Extra Large Icons. When you select your portrait, leave these settings as they are. It just imports it straight into the file, and you'll see that it looks like that. To rotate it very quickly, if you go up here, if you see Rotate Selection 90 at the top, you might need to select on that on your picture with this pointer here to highlight that, and you can select left. And the next thing we need to do is shrink it down so it sits inside the A4 page. So I'm just going to shrink that down, pop it inside the A4 page. Make sure you can see the whole of the edge of the paper all the way around, and get it into the middle as far as you can. At this point, I'm going to File, go to Document Properties, and just check that the properties are A4 and Portrait. If that's the case, click OK. And to work with this in a minute, we're going to need to change the view, zoom in to the whole page. So I'm just going to give you a minute to pause the video and go and import your image, and make sure you save it as A4. Okay, so you've got that set up. Now what we need to do is to create an original layer. If you go up to Layer and click on Layers here, you'll find this area will pop up on the right hand side. Double click on Layer and Layer 1 and call it Original. Hit Enter, and there's a little tiny padlock just to the left of the layer title. If you lock that, what you'll find is that you cannot change this layer. You can't select anything, you can't delete it, you can't move it. What we now need is a layer to edit. I'm going to click plus, check that it forms above the current layer, and I'm going to call it My Opie. I'm going to click Add. Make sure it appears above and that you've highlighted it. I'm just going to pause here so you can do that. Excellent. Now you've done that, you're ready to start tracing. Now, most of the shape tools are self-explanatory along here, but what we're going to use for this project is what's called a Bezier curve. It's a mathematical definition of a line. So if we click on the Bezier curve icon here, it's the pencil with this little point. If we click on it, we can use it to draw the outline of shapes that we need. And as you can see, I'm just outlining the shape. The fewer nodes you use, the smoother your work will look. So I'm really only putting a node, which is a change of direction, in as few points as possible. And this is a very important bit. You can only fill in full shapes. So see here, when that little dot goes red, I've got it there. Click on that and it will close that shape in. Now, because I want to work on this, I'm going to zoom in now. View, zoom, zoom it into selection, and now we can see it's actually quite inaccurate. Now I'm going to edit paths, and that's the second button down here, and you can see the node squares on the line here. If you click on that, you get all of these different dots. Now when you get close to a line, you get the little handle and you can bend them and actually start to trace the shape a little bit more accurately. Now as you can see here, when I click on the node itself, you get all these handles, and they can be used for really precise control. If junction is too sharp for you, if you go up here, you can get different types of junctions. So this is a sharp corner. Here is a symmetrical one. This is symmetrical, sorry. That is a smooth one, and it just smooths things out a bit. So what you now do is you literally now start going around, moving the nodes so they're close, bending the lines so it starts to look a little bit more like the shape of what you were trying to create. And you can be fairly accurate with this. Don't forget, sometimes the actual nodes can be a little bit too sharp. And the more accurately you spend your time doing this, the better your final work will look. So remember, our mission is to try and create something that looks a little bit like the work of the artist Julian Opie, sorry. So if you Google Julian Opie, you will find lots of images, and your job is to try and make it look like that. So as you can see now, we've got a full shape going all the way around. Now what we need to do is change the line thickness and choose a colour. So I'm just going to zoom out for that now. View, zoom, zoom out. And if we now go to Object, and there's a section called Fill and Stroke. If we click on Fill and Stroke, we get a dialog box pop up over here on the right. I'll give my computer a bit of time to catch up. Okay, so here is the shape all selected, and you've got the layers down here. And what I'm going to do is make sure I've selected it. And the first thing I want to do is fill it in. If you click on the first box here, flat colour, you can then choose it. The colour option I prefer is the wheel. And as you can see, if you drag this round, you can get different colours. If you pull this bit round the outside. So what we're trying to do is choose a Julian Opie type of style. And there we go, I think that's kind of right. And then what I want to do is make the outside line thicker. So if we click on Stroke Style, we get the width here. And Julian Opie tends to use quite... Whoa, that's a little bit too big. If I bring that down and probably choose something in the middle. And there we go. So now, again, I can view, zoom the whole page, and I can turn off the original layer and start to see what it's going to start to look like. Next thing you need to do is just go over the other elements of your face, filling them all in and making sure it looks as accurate as possible. And once again, just a quick reminder that of what you're looking for is Julian Opie. So hopefully you've done some research and you've already found some of the images that he likes, but remember, it's this sort of style that you're trying to create. So I hope that's given you a good start. Make sure you save regularly, save as. You can call different version numbers you want, but make sure you save regularly and keep your work ready to export at the end of this unit. Hope that was useful.